What's up, everybody? Happy midweek. Trade to Black presented by Flowhub. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Thanks for checking in, and a good job by Anthony to do solo on Monday. And anyway, long story short, we're going to have Marc Cohodes on in just a moment, and we'll go from there. But we're going to talk about a lot of things: rescheduling, big pharma's action in this space, along with big tobacco, you name it. Sarah Carter being appointed, uplisting, everything and anything you can think of that has some dialogue on what we can expect next from this administration, and some of the things we need to be looking at, not only the next day, but the next 2, 3, 6 months for this industry here in 2026. So it's a big one here on a Wednesday. So thanks for checking in, and let's get to it. We welcome in AV here on a Wednesday. Good to see you. How are things?
How's it going? Good. Good to have you back.
Thank you. I had another window open up, and it was my YouTube channel, so I was getting a bad echo. I think I did that a couple months ago, but I had to close.
I've done that plenty of times in the history of the show.
Oh, I got going, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here? But thanks for holding the fort down. Was out Monday, still battling vertigo. Never had that ever in my life. It is brutal. I don't wish this upon anybody, but yes, still doing a little battling a little bit here, and still a little wobbly, but I don't have as much energy as I usually do here today. I just want to give people the reason why, but we got Marc Cohodes and you to carry the weight here today, because Marc's always a beauty, and we'll have him on in just a minute. But good to see you. And here on a Wednesday, I want to first bring up, there was some news yesterday that I missed, but I know you wanted to touch on. It was pertaining to Curaleaf and some promising news. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, Curaleaf pre-announced earnings for next quarter. I think they're going to announce here in early March. If I had to take a guess, they're putting this information out there so they can now speak about it. Presumably, they're probably on a roadshow and or in talks to refi the debt, which they have one of the biggest. I think they have the biggest refi in the space. It's Curaleaf and Varrell that are on deck to get the refis done. So I mean, it was good. Boris is still showing a pretty nice top line. It was a solid pre-report, and it's just, I guess, foreshadowing that they're in the works of getting that refi done, and then we get the real report come early March. But they needed to pre-announce to potentially weave those numbers in and actually have that data within the conversation, because obviously they can't be talking about anything that's non-public. So the pre-announced of the unaudited financials, I mean, makes sense in that regard.
Well, nice to see, because as Curaleaf goes, so does MSOS, the ETF, with the biggest position in Curaleaf. Yeah. And I know there's been some chatter last week about if we want to see a rally, a lot of it's going to start with Curaleaf right then and there. But some welcoming news. And if you want this ETF to change and move, especially on a senior exchange, look no further than Curaleaf, because that is, if memory serves me correctly, it's, I think, 24%. Or is it higher?
I mean, Curaleaf's got the richest multiple in the space. I mean, they've also got the largest top line in the space.
Yeah.
Boris is working his way to profitability, not profitability, but increasing the profitability within the business. But I mean, Curaleaf's tracking on a $1.2 billion top line.
Yeah.
They also announced on that pre-announcement that they are exiting the Missouri market and they are fully out of hemp. So that was 2 other data points on the release. But I mean, they've got the largest top line in the space.
Yeah.
So
the hemp experiment, short-lived, but I can understand why, considering what's happened in November. But like you said, top line growth, revenue-wise, Curaleaf is the number one in the industry. And again, a big reason why MSO and Dan and Noah have the biggest position in that stock right now. So hopefully we get some movement here in the Washington front relatively soon. And if so, then let's see what happens next and see what round 2 presents us here in 2026. So with that, let's find out about what's going to happen here the next little bit, and really, what our predictions are as far as how this stuff will play out if this comes to fruition. So with that, let's welcome back probably the most notorious guest on our podcast, Wall Street veteran. Happy New Year to Marc Cohodes. Good to see you, sir. How are things?
Happy New Year, guys. Living the dream. I'm fired up. I have plenty of energy today, Shad, so I can carry you on my back and Anthony on my other shoulder and give him a spanking as I walk through the hills.
Well, I appreciate that.
All's good.
I I have gone to battle, but I am wounded today. But I am still out here trying to obviously bring everybody a live stream show. People want to see, they want to hear a little bit of hope and future and dialogue and direction as to where we are. We're hitting the back half of January right now, but I'm going to start things off. And it's the appointment that's confirmed with Sarah Carter last week, which is very, very important. She's now drug czar of the ONDCP, which we are anticipating. Finally, that's confirmed. Well, what do you think role that she's doing behind the scenes right now to potentially fast track, where this executive order is and getting everybody, I guess, on the same page? Because we are hearing that there are certain DEA members that are shuffling their feet about advancing this. So what do you think her role is going to present and really streamline this?
Excellent question. So I happen to be a big fan of Derek Maltz. He's been one of your guests. He asked me if you guys were legit. I said, you're the most legitimate guys out there. And then he got on your show, and he's a huge fan of Sarah Carter. I think Dennis Maltz is in Sarah Carter's ear.
Okay.
Sarah Carter is pro cannabis. The DEA dinosaurs who are out there, the old line dinosaurs who don't understand what's going on, are just lost. So they can drag their feet all they want. But let's take this down to the studs, because we have the whole show. Everyone who wants to know when Bondi's going to sign off on this, they're missing the point.
Yeah.
That's like trying to bet with me, am I going to eat dinner in the next week? Of course I'm going to eat dinner. I may not eat dinner every day of the week, but of course I am. We operate in a kingdom, and the kingdom is chaotic, and the kingdom is run by King Trump.
Yep.
The sooner people understand this and get a grip with it, that he thrives and lives in chaos and keeping people off balance, and it's his call, then the world and this space will be smoother.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk slow so everyone can understand. It is going to happen, gang. Whether it happens this week, next week, February,
Yep.
I just don't care. Just like when Glass House had the raid, everyone wanted to throw dirt on it. Anthony got on Twitter and said, until this resolves, everyone should shut their mouth.
Yeah.
Hold their fire, because people are going to look really stupid or really smart. And my respect for Anthony went through the roof, because the people who look stupid are all hiding under a fucking rock right now, under their mother's dress, and you never hear from them anymore. And you have to, in this space, have a view, have basis, and stay the course. Every day is not a good day. Correct. Every day is not a bad day. It's a volatile space. It's not followed. People in general don't do their work. They try to trade these things. They play out of the money options. Get a thesis, have a thesis, and if it plays out, you're going to make a lot of money. My number one prediction of 2026 is at the end of the year, this year, 2026, Glass House will have the highest market cap of any of the cannabis companies out there.
Yeah.
And
So,
I say that. Beg your pardon?
I was going to say, speaking of Glass House, I mean, I know they had a pretty big announcement yesterday. How do you see that?
It was the biggest announcement in the space in the last 2 years. How do I see it?
Yeah.
Again, with Trump pushing toward medical, or CBD, or non-intoxicating THC, right, or no THC. The space is headed toward what I would call wellness.
Correct.
Right. Instead of getting high, which he's not really for, to me, it's an adult over 21 choice. I don't smoke cannabis. I don't get high with cannabis. My girlfriend does. I don't. But I'm a huge supporter of the industry, because adults and people over 21 and older should have a choice. And it doesn't harm you. It's far better than alcohol, and it has extraordinary medical benefits. So under the executive order, where he had Dr. Oz saying the plan will be implemented by April 15th, and it's for people anyone on Medicare, of which I'm on, right? I'm 65, I'm on it, will get $500 a year. So just because people like visuals, this is my left shoulder.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
So there's 2 plates in there and there's 9 screws, right? That's my left shoulder.
That's a lot of screws.
That's because I had a horse run over me 3 years ago.
Ouch.
Suffice it to say, I also have tendon and ligament damage, and they want to do 2 more surgeries on me, which I refuse to do. So suffice it to say, I didn't take one opioid after surgery, and I haven't taken one since. And the government or doctors want you to take opioids. Cannabis or hemp or CBD is a natural way of solving pain. It's a natural way. And this is the glass house ointment I talk about. This is an unused jar. And I use this daily, and it alleviates all pain in my shoulder, arm, back tendons, the whole deal. And the laws are so fucked up, but they will get fixed. It's illegal for a glass house to sell this outside the state of California under current law. It's illegal for someone under 21 to buy this.
Right.
It's the equivalent of rubbing alcohol is treated the same as drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
You can't get high on this if you had to, right? If you wanted to.
Yeah.
What this is a medical product that promotes wellness without drugs, which mess people up. And this is going to be part of the future, part of it.
So let's talk about that future, because I saw yesterday in this press release of Glass House, they said planting its first production antenna for sale in markets outside of California. What are they implying when it comes to that? I assume it's hemp. And that's a big question, because Anthony, you and I have talked about this a lot, about we wouldn't be here without Howard Kessler and the Commonwealth Project, the amount of money that he's put towards the Trump administration. Saying that, they're going to have to be working with somebody, it comes to manufacturing a lot of CBD across the country. But when you look at this, like, who are some of the players that are going to come to fruition? Do we know that yet? Do we have an understanding of that? We don't know that yet, but do we have an understanding as to how this is going to develop and really, materialize?
Let's circle back to Anthony's thing about Glass House's announcement yesterday.
Okay.
Well, I think Glass House is either going to create a huge wellness division, or Glass House will become a wellness company. What they're talking about is growing more zero THC product, whether that's hemp or CBD flower, to either export to places like Japan. Do you realize a CBD joint in Japan, non-THC, sells for $33 a joint in Japan?
Really?
30, yeah, really. So if Glass House's cost of growing that joint is 10 cents, and they sign a deal with the distributor in Japan, because there's nothing illegal about CBD, especially zero THC CBD. Imagine if they grow that plant for export to Japan at $33 a joint. And since you're talking about wellness, and since Glass House does have a deal with UC Berkeley, those are all medical strains.
Right.
And when you say someone's going to grow it, they're solar powered and they use the sun. Could you imagine growing this on the East Coast or in Arctic Mexico with it 50 below zero? Natural gas is up 40% in 2 days.
There is a lot of biomass being grown in Thailand, though.
It's sure not going to get. Look, if we're down to worrying about Thailand competitors,
I'm not saying to worry about it. I'm just saying Thailand's a legitimate market right now, growing quickly.
Fantastic. Someone is going to supply it. Now, under King Trump, let's say Thailand has this great CBD flower. Do you think he's going to allow people to buy it from there rather than a U.S. grown company?
Well, no. I'm talking about Japan. I'm talking about your thesis on Japan.
Okay. Well,
we're talking about Glass House exporting to Japan. I think it's a better, to be honest, strategically, I think Glass House would make a lot more money exporting to the EU and taking business away from the Canadians.
Well, I'll say
going that route.
I'd say it's D, all of the above.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what the cannabis hemp lobby guys are missing, and I'm speaking, and if you're watching this, Kim Rivers, I'm talking directly to you. Open the markets up, gang, right? The Oakland Raiders, as bad as they are, they go out and think they're going to win every single day. You don't need limited prohibition on a state basis. Work as an industry to export this stuff, export this with your brands, export it with your label.
They'll never allow that.
Beg your pardon?
They'll never allow that. The MSOs will never allow the coming down of the limited license markets.
It's coming. It has to happen.
I wanted to.
Okay.
I mean, I was on Monday on the show Monday. I mean, Michael Bronstein and I went into a pretty detailed conversation about we need to bring down the walls of these limited license markets and just open it up completely and let the free market decide who's going to be crowned the leader of the U.S. cannabis industry.
So why are they holding back on that, guys? Anthony, start with
why it insulates their business. You think you think Kim doesn't like the fact that anybody that wants to come compete in Florida right now needs $100 million and a couple $1 million piece of paper to come even compete with her, much alone not even be able to operate a business. Look at Maryland. I mean, look at all of these insulated, limited license markets. I mean, the economics are good until you get a saturation in licensing and then saturation in cultivation and start to get price compression and everything starts to roll over. We've seen it in every market that matures.
So, Mark, you say it's coming. You think that's going to change? If so, why do you believe that?
Well, I've made friends with some people at Cresco who are huge believers in this mini-prohibition, and they've come around. I'm pals with Jason Wild. He was a fan of mini-prohibition. He's come around. There's just no stopping it. Japan used to have interest rates close to zero under curve control, and now they probably have the highest interest rates in the G7.
Right.
You can't artificially in the United States of America in a free market environment keep unfree markets. My thing is, if you're great at this business, right, and Glasshouse is, you're going to do great in the new world order. If you're good at this business, you're going to do good. If you're shitty at this business and have a bad model, you're going to fail or you're going to have to adjust. Curaleaf, as much as you guys like it, and I don't know Curaleaf well, right? I don't know it at all. They talk some shit and I'll remember that forever and ever, but I'll leave that alone. They're getting out of Missouri, right? Yeah. They're getting out of hemp. Why? Because they can't make it work. They can't make it work, and they're going to focus elsewhere. Well, when you tear down the walls, everyone should be able to work nationally, right? Kim can easily come into California and take on Glass House or compete here. It's a huge, right? It's the biggest market in the world. She can go to Illinois. They can go wherever they want. But these fake barriers and spending money to stop people is just insane, and it's counterproductive. We've already gotten rid of the gas station hemp honey, right? We've already gotten rid of synthetics. So that's a huge plus for you.
Right.
But why not, if you're a believer in the industry, make it the best for the consumer? Have it priced right, have people have a choice of brands, and the industry will grow like crazy. And if someone wants to go in on her home turf and she's a great operator, she should have no worries.
Yeah.
She should want to compete, right? You guys wouldn't mind competition because you guys have the best mousetrap. You're the smartest guys. You have the best contacts. You don't give a rat's ass who comes in and competes with you. And this is going to change. And it has to change because I'm not the only one who has this in the world.
Yeah,
and I'm
I hear
not
you.
the only one in pain, right? And I'm not the only one where this benefits.
Well, as competition starts to pick up, a lot of things need to happen. And one is this executive order to be signed off by Attorney General Pam Bondi to get this process going. We have the 30 to 60 day window where it becomes into law. Yes, there'll be lawsuits, but the important thing is the DEA and the DOJ are not standing in front of this from happening. They're for it. At least we think they are. And
Maltz is for it.
Right.
Maltz doesn't know why cannabis is illegal, because he's fighting a fentanyl fight, right? And it becomes
as they should be.
As he should be. But it becomes manpower, it becomes time, it becomes finding a U.S. attorney to prosecute cases. U.S. attorneys prosecuting cannabis cases locally, right? It's like jaywalking. It's against the law to jaywalk in Chicago. It is, right? But it's unenforceable because the DEA goes to Honolulu, where my friend runs the DEA for Honolulu there. The state has one rule. The feds have one rule. No one knows what the fuck to do. Right?
I know.
So you get everyone on the same page, and what's going to do it? And this did it for gambling, and I hate fucking sports gambling because it's ruined sports.
Yeah.
Slap a 3 to 5% excise tax on everything.
What you said before.
Right. And then the government's your partner, just like the football leagues are paid by DraftKings.
Yep.
And the government is paid by DraftKings. And now wherever you go, you see DraftKings. And I want a show of hands from the people in government who think this is more dangerous than taking opioids.
Yeah, I hear you.
Painkillers. I just want to know. And I want to know why this is a glass house product under Mama Sue, can't be sold in 50 states and internationally. And Icy Hot, right, which is owned by Sanofi or Sanofi, however you pronounce it, right? That's a $4 billion, that shit that doesn't work, that smells like you're doing better, that Shaq sponsors. That's a $4 billion TAM in the US, total addressable market, right?
Yeah.
You don't think Sanofi wants in on this? You don't think Sanofi would like this recipe to market it for Glasshouse and distribute it for Glasshouse worldwide? Yeah. I mean, how much do they pay Shaq a year to sponsor it? $20 million?
Right.
And you know, the major pharma guys, as you say, they need someone to grow it. They need someone to create emulsion. They need people to create product, and they'll market it. But to me, the race is Glasshouse, 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 and Anthony's pals in Thailand, right? Because the MSOs have a model. I mean, Boris, he has so much debt, he could choke a fucking mule.
Who's your pals, Anthony? Who's your pals in Thailand?
Well, he said they grow great stuff in Thailand. So you guys will have.
We got to go to Thailand and meet those pals.
Well, remember Chad, the Canna guy that we actually met at MJ Biz, big edibles company in Thailand.
So
listen, I want to cut you off real quick. Look, we get this executive order basically signed off. Let's say we get a ruling later this year, which I think all signs point to that. I know a lot of people are asking timeline wise. Let's not focus on that. The fact is, Trump said this is going to get done. You're seeing a lot of stuff going on right now as far as Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Donald Trump, and things are really starting to separate. Do you anticipate Trump will really get on this whole bandwagon of uplisting once rescheduling is announced, considering the current framework that's in play? Or am I reading a little too much into that?
I think it's a done deal. I think the second you get her to sign Schedule 3, I think you're going to see a Trump tweet the next day or within hours. He hates Canada, and with good reason. Well, I call it Arctic Mexico. And now, right, if he's worried about Greenland, which today he called Iceland because I guess the place is loaded with ice. if he thinks Greenland's strategic, right? What do you think is going through his mind and others' mind about the CCP on our northern border? And he could go take Canada in 1 hour, 13 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And he's sick of it. He's sick of all this bullshit. And again, $500 a person on Medicare, 60 to 70 million people, above 65. It has to be banked. How are you going to pay Glass House for the bomb? Bring 15 Brinks trucks to headquarters and drop them cash? I mean, people need to just stop and think we're in 2026, right? We're in a cashless, digital, Zelle, PayPal, Cash App world. Everyone's bankable. Every single person is bankable. And you're telling me people who make this, which makes people like me feel better because it reduces my pain. My ex-wife's husband has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He takes the Glass House tincture. It stops him from shaking. Now, fine, you got to do tests. But I am determined that my next time in Washington, Besant will have a case of this.
Yep.
Trump will have a case of this. They will all have a case of this because everyone hurts somewhere. And Kessler is involved because he had cancer and it made a difference.
Right.
So this isn't icy hot bullshit that you buy at Costco because it smells good and it warms up your arm or cools your arm and it doesn't work and it's a marketing. This stuff actually works. It actually works. And once pharma gets involved, they're going to need partners. This Glass House is going to become a joint venture machine, whether it's pharma, wellness, liquor companies. The liquor companies are out of their asshole, right? Their business is down big, every one of them, year over year over year, and their inventory is out of control. Yet it's a $500 billion market worldwide, 500 billion.
So do you guys really do believe that this will become a priority? Like I've heard lawmakers say we're going to view cannabis completely different. And yes, SAFER will finally get a floor vote. And with that comes uplisting if obviously it passes. But that's wishful thinking.
And you have an election in 10 months. And this in this polls hugely favorable.
So
and whoever wants the majority is not gonna campaign on more ICE agents in North Dakota, right? That's not going to win you votes at this stage of the game. And it's not going to be, we're going to make housing more affordable. It's going to be, instead of being addicted to opioids, or fentanyl floating around, it's going to be stuff used pharmaceutical grade, medical grade to make people feel better. And instead of taking sleeping pills, if you have to drop a gummy, so be it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And the sooner everyone realizes this is the way it is, it's just going to be the way it is, because we're in 2026. We're not in the Nixon era.
Jake Westington writes, could a Bondi memo enable banking and uplisting? Sure, it could, but I don't see that happening.
No, I see it happening. I have a memo from JP Morgan to a hedge fund, right? Because JP Morgan and Goldman and Morgan Stanley and none of these guys will custody cannabis stocks. They say we'll review this after Schedule 3. Of course it's going to open it up. I mean, think people, it has to open it up.
Yeah,
the New York Stock Exchange trades garbage, those garbagey Canadian bullshit stocks. You don't think they're going to trade U.S. companies? I mean, the guy who owns ICE, Spretler, his wife is on Trump's cabinet.
By the way, we're talking about the Intercontinental Exchange, not ICE that's running through Minneapolis right now.
The New York Stock Exchange.
So
the main thing is everyone needs to slow their roll and think. And to me, you pick the horse or horses you like. I know Anthony likes Verano. I love Glass House. I haven't seen anything like it. And I haven't seen anything like it ever, frankly. I mean, the last thing I saw like this was at Canandaigua Wine. And I think you're going to see everyone run to it, just like everyone's running to crypto.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to own it, I guess you own Bitcoin or Ethereum, but people are in stable coins and this and that and the other and the whole thing. And that wasn't bankable. Jamie Dimon didn't want to bank Bitcoin at $800 a coin.
You had mentioned a potential descheduling commission coming, let's say, down the road. Do you think that the notion of that's still intact from a federal policymaking perspective?
Yes, of course it is. And the same thing, you guys had Weldon on, right? And he has people who are in prison for nonviolent cannabis related crimes.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself why. And I think those people need to be let out, and I think the laws need to be made clear. And if the people who are against cannabis by and large are alcoholics, right? And
Laura Ingraham.
Yeah, Laura Ingraham. I mean, I know Laura Ingram's brother, Curtis. He's a really cool guy. He happens to be gay, so she hates him because he's gay. But he's a cool cat. I mean, she's just mentally unstable. And Berenson, who used to
Berenson, there's no one where Berenson is actually worse than Kevin Sabet. Like Berenson is the biggest POS like around.
Well, here's the thing with Berenson. So Berenson did a front page article about me in the New York Times, I think in the year 2000.
Okay.
And Berenson and I were very tight.
How old is Berenson?
He's probably 50. So Berenson he's truly a brilliant fellow, but he served. The Times sent him over to Iraq once, and he did a brilliant job over there. Then they sent him over again. This is before he was married, and he got captured. And he got captured in Sadr City.
What?
Yeah, he got captured with a crew, and he wrote me a letter, and I have it somewhere, and he basically thought they were going to kill him.
Wow.
And the letter's like 19 pages, and he wrote, great spy novels, John Wells, and he dedicated one of his last book to my son Max. He dedicated.
This is Alex Berenson?
This is Alex Berenson, right? But somewhere along the line, he has a huge problem. His ex-wife has a huge problem. And I'm not going to get into it. Let's just say she has some form of addiction issue. His hypocrisy on cannabis versus what his wife is involved in, you can cut it with a knife. And you really, people in life go south, and pressure in their minds cause them to lose their minds. And Berenson has lost his mind.
Got it.
But at his core, he's a good guy. He's just gone very bad. And
he's to the point of he'll just take anything. Pseudoscience.
I get it, right?
Yeah.
But I know the goings on. And out of respect for his family, I'll just leave it at there.
Yeah.
But he's a deeply troubled fellow in the mind now.
That makes sense.
And that rolls over in his beliefs. And he's so over the edge. He went down to campaign for DeSantis and DeSantis' wife, and he may have taken money from those funds to advocate for hemp against cannabis. You can't advocate for one against the other.
No.
You're either wet or you're dry. You're not moist.
Well, listen, let's
and
go ahead.
The other side, Sabet, Berenson, the prohibitionists, I call them the KKK of the world. They're so fucking far out there. They've lost any form of reality. I mean, McConnell is paid off. McConnell's deal to kill everything is he wants his name when he dies in 3 to 30 months all over buildings in Kentucky. McConnell Library, the McConnell train station. And the guys where he killed the bills for have given him or have dedicated enough money to those that he'll have a legacy. So he doesn't give a fuck. I mean, he didn't give a fuck at all.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's just, when Sabet and Berenson lose this fight, they'll go to the next thing because they need money to function.
Yeah, you're talking about a prohibitionist group that'll file lawsuits. This is not the DEA or DOJ that are against this. So when I look at this in the court of law, we've had Shane Pennington on among a few other people. I don't want to say anything's guaranteed, but I think when you look at things from that perspective and some of the claims that they're coming on, and we're yet to see some of that stuff from Bill Barr, it makes it very promising that based on the data and the HHS recommendation, there will not be a ruling of a stay, and this is all going to move forward. And if so, then what does that, I guess, present for the industry? And what I'm hearing from you is that you do think that uplisting is going to happen relatively quick and will be on Trump's radar if that all comes to fruition, correct?
109%. I mean, there's no guarantees in life. And my late grandfather said only fools are positive, and I'm not a fool.
By the way, Mark, if you look in the comments, one of my buddies from Thailand showed up, Mr. Thai Grower. There you go. He's in the comments right now. He's in my consortium of Thai contacts.
I'm glad you think I'm entertaining.
But do you think this growing animosity? Look, I don't like. There's good Canadian companies out there. They're just playing by the rules. If they could list on the senior exchanges, then let them. Like I would do the exact same thing. Of course they are. Their opportunity right now. Hold on. Their opportunity right now is in Europe. Very much so. Some of them have a footprint if things do open up in the U.S. But I do think the European market is by far and away their biggest opportunity right now. So this growing animosity between Trump and Carney right now, do you think this only adds more encouragement for Trump to make a comment about uplisting for U.S. companies? Or again, it makes sense on paper, but do you think it's going to happen?
Okay. I told people at the Treasury that Canadian grow operations are funded by CCP money.
Let's not go that far again.
Let's beg your pardon?
I mean, that's
not
Shad's aware of it. He's aware of money.
Illegal grows, not the licensed ones.
Okay, fine. Like, do you think Arctic Mexico actually determines between legal and illegal? And what?
Yes, they do actually very well out of the best out of any of the G7 nations. They actually got that right.
As I would say to that, okay. I mean, I okie dokie. Let's just say that with the CCP on our northern border with 15,000 spy cars and Trump's move into Greenland after his move in Venezuela, if people do not think Arctic Mexico is next, you're not paying attention. And there are plenty of well-run U.S. companies. I don't own their stock. I own Glasshouse stock that can and should trade on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes, I agree.
Or NASDAQ. You have Chinese launderers trading there. You have these Arctic Mexican companies trading there. You have everyone. And when the door opens, when Bondi says Schedule 3 is fine, what are they worried about? Are they worried about the DOJ raiding the New York Stock Exchange and saying you're trading something that's illegal? Fuck, they trade Polymarket there, or Polymarket's the New York Stock Exchange is partners with a gambling operation. I mean, that was raided by the FBI overseas last fall. So it's kind of like, if you don't like the space, great, no problem. There's plenty of stocks to buy. If you really want to be constructive, everyone has got to get out of this short-term mindset and assume Schedule 3 is happening. Assume is going to be a huge market. Export's going to be a huge market, and pick your winners accordingly. That's all. And you guys, I don't agree with everything you say. I sure don't agree with your guests, especially that asshat down in Florida.
Okay,
but I haven't mentioned his name.
Nope.
I have not mentioned Brady's name at all.
So you've been in Mexico. You got some good sun, I can tell, as we move along here.
Yeah, that sun was pretty hot, and I kind of believe, I'm of the belief. When I was a counselor at a boys' camp when I was like 19, I won the counselor tanning contest because I used to, hang out in a metal boat, and I used to slather with baby oil, and I get myself checked. Now I have skin cancer. I think sunscreen mixed with the sun causes skin cancer, and people will figure that out long after I'm gone. But yeah, I got some sun. But I'm I think pharma is going to partner up with companies.
Definitely.
I think big booze is going to partner up with companies. I think there will be fewer. I think the weak will either go out of business or get gobbled up. And I think, this year is going to be just a crazy, fun, fantastic year, which is going to end the year with Glass House being the biggest market cap of them all.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see that Glass House being the biggest market cap in the space.
Well, I think that's a given. I want to read you something. I mean, I'm a madman for this stuff, and I'm not stopping, right? You guys know it's like full tilt, full go the whole time.
Go ahead.
Right? So I'm not going to say where it's from, but I know a lot of people, and I'm involved in a booze company in Lexington called Bespoken. Spoke with blank, and this is one of the top 4 liquor companies in the world.
Okay.
Who's a board member at blank. He stressed that he thinks blank, this is the board member, should have a hemp THC strategy. He's going to discuss it at the February board meeting. He has the Glass House investor deck and said he had enough to begin conversations at the board and senior management level. Glass House will grow, they will distribute, and Glass House will either joint venture on manufacturing or they will integrate manufacturing into their existing infrastructure. Now, this is just a discussion with one company, right? So imagine if a Glass House or any one of these other also-rans decides to actually get strategic and look for JV partners.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Glass House can do this by themselves.
No.
The guys who are there are very talented, but it's not a deep bench.
With something you just said, though, with liquor with liquor being advised to look into, let's say, a hemp THC strategy, where do you think hemp lands at the end of this year? Because there are people in Washington right now that are fighting for their lives to have the ban extended for a couple of years and get more time to, let's say, sort this out. Like, where do you think hemp goes?
The ban will get extended, I think, for sure, and then they're going to term McConnell out. They're going to extend. They're going to extend it. Then McConnell will be gone. So that'll work. I like Rand Paul a lot.
So you think this hemp ban is going to get extended to 28?
Yeah, I think it's going to get extended. But here's why I fall on this. If you put everyone on equal footing, and the hemp guys equal footing have to compete with the cannabis guys, let winner take all.
Correct.
Right? If Cornbread wants to compete in the space and they have a better mousetrap, hats off to those guys.
Yeah.
I like those guys. I have nothing against hemp. I have nothing against anyone except that clown in Florida and that damn dank informer who motivates me every day. I have no problem with anyone. But where you just simply need equal footing, because at the end of the day, I know, can you imagine a bourbon, an alcohol-free bourbon laced or loaded with THC, where you can drink all the bourbon you want at night? You can drink as much as you want at night, and your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever wakes up the next day and goes to yoga class and you're not hungover. Can you imagine drinking liquor instead of it being with alcohol, it's laced with THC or THC emulsion? And again, guys,
I think this industry is kind of like alcohol in a lot of ways. You saw the tobacco industry and how it was upended, and I think it's the next on the list, and it's going to upend it in a lot of ways.
Again, I'm old enough to remember that wherever you went, there was a payphone. There was a payphone on every corner of every street. There was a payphone in the train station, bus stop, airport. There were payphones everywhere. There was no such thing as a cell phone. And those payphone guys thought they had it fucking knocked, right? They had it knocked. They had a monopoly, right? Until the cell phone came around.
Right.
And then if you guys remember, well, I'm older than you two cats. There used to be cell phones were monopolies in the Northeast and Southeast and Southwestern Bell. You know, it used to not be one size fits all. You used to have to pay a heavy roaming charge if you had a New York,
you have to buy minutes.
Right. You had, but if you had a New York number, a 212 or 917 number, and you traveled to Chicago, they used to charge you $2 a minute instead of 22 cents.
Correct.
Which is like, again, right? Key here. This is like this limited prohibition.
Yeah.
Right? Why should you be forced to drink New Jersey wine grown with New Jersey grapes at 10 times the price of California wine grown with California grapes?
Yeah.
Right?
I want to get back.
Why is this, which is non-intoxicating, illegal outside of California?
Yeah,
it can't make you high if you wanted to get high.
But guess what? We know this change is coming. That's all going to come to fruition. What I'm really trying to understand is the next chapter of this story that's being written once rescheduling comes into play. A couple of people actually commented on my post on LinkedIn the other day about this whole uplisting angle. One of them was, even if the demand was there, which it isn't, if you could actually meet the uplisting requirements imposed by the exchanges. And then later, many don't seem to realize that or understand the cost and time involved in uplisting to major exchanges. You agree with that, Anthony?
No. I mean, the problem is you're over on LinkedIn.
Okay. Is that it?
You gotta be on my Twitter. That's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. First of all, you know, someone like Glasshouse could uplist tomorrow. They pass all the requirements.
I get that, but is there a lot of
so can Kovler, so can Queen Kim, so can
the big boys are going to they're going to uplist.
The big boys I get, but I'm saying some of these smaller companies that don't trade, and I don't want to say names right now.
Some of those smaller companies, to be completely frank, shouldn't be public.
Yeah.
This gets back to great will do great, good will do good. And the suspect ones will either fail or they'll get rolled in, or they'll get
zombie companies. Zombie companies are the ones are the little guys hanging on by the skin of their teeth. They're done in this next act of the cannabis industry. Like it is what it is. But truly, GTI, Curaleaf, Glasshouse, Verano, Fresco, Jushi, they're staying and they're uplisting. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
and they're all going to partner up with the Bacardis, Tories.
Is this happened before the midterms, guys?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, at the rate things are going in this world, I mean, no one had bingo cards on Venezuela, taking their oil, selling it, putting it in a Qatari bank. We're going to invade Greenland. We're not going to invade Greenland. We got tariffs. We don't have tariffs.
No tariffs. He stopped the tariffs.
I saw that.
I get. But again, put your mind and learn to think in a chaotic world. What does Trump hate, right? Or better yet, Stephen Miller, what does he hate? They hate the CCP, right? Yeah. What do they hate? They hate elbows up Carney, right? Who tried to show up Trump every which way they can. They love American made. They love American grown. They love America first, right? Take the excise tax money, President Trump, give it to the soybean farmers you get from selling cannabis or hemp here, or exporting America product to Europe, Asia, wherever, right? And give it to the people who the trade wars hurt. That's all. And Kim, there'll be plenty of business for you to not worry about anyone coming into your little monopoly, right? It's not going to change how you live. You will do just fine. But as you guys said, a lot of these companies need to refinance an awful lot of debt. Yeah. So they have hurdles and things and roadblocks and high cost assets that Glasshouse doesn't have.
Yeah.
Right? Glasshouse is the first mover. I mean,
Hey, we get it. We've heard Glasshouse a lot. We understand that you like them.
Time out. Of course I like them. But when you started the show, you said Curaleaf is getting out of Missouri. Okay, check. Curaleaf is getting out of hemp. Check. Glasshouse is expanding into non-THC product. Check. And Glasshouse is expanding Greenhouse 2 and probably Greenhouse 6. So while others are contracting, they're growing. And this is on the heels of the ICE nonsense. So clearly they see something out there that others don't, because they're not foolish people. They're not expanding the way they're expanding just to sell in California. I guarantee you that.
Well, when I look at this, as far as the big picture, I don't know if you guys saw Tom Angelak's the report on marijuana moment, where the Trump administration highlighted the executive order as one of the big wins of the first year in the second term under President Trump, which is very, very telling.
It's not a big win yet. I actually don't like that the Trump administration did that, because they're pulling a Biden. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a win yet.
Yeah, I see your point. But yeah, I think the appointment of Sarah Carter, in some ways, like you said, it is getting attention as far as this executive order, and then hopefully, we start to get some progress and some direction on where this is going to go as far as this executive order being signed off by Attorney General Pam Bondi and what we can expect next. But the big takeaway here as well, again today, Mark, is the fact that you think uplisting is going to be right then and there as far as the attention. And that's important, I think, for a lot of people in this space, because we all know we want to avoid what happened on December 18th when this industry traded so well. And then 40 minutes before the actual announcement, the rug got pulled by a lot of under their feet by a lot of investors in this space. It's rattled a lot of people here a month later. And we need new investors in this space right now, because it's all led by retail, and uplisting obviously answers those questions by attracting corporate institutional money, which is badly needed.
Speaking of which, I think you guys should raise some money and sell some stock to your viewers and your fans. I know I'd give you guys some money. I'd invest in you guys, and I'll tell you why. How many gambling shows are on TV or the internet right now?
It's insane how many are there.
Okay, fine. Let's just say thousands, right? Thousands.
Yeah.
And wherever you turn, it's some Gruden, Barstool, and I know Portnoy. I like Portnoy. I like Portnoy. He knows me. Been on his podcasts. I think he's great.
Yep.
He's turned nothing in that Barstool into a grand slam.
Yep.
Of to a demographic about gambling and sports and things like that. You guys are the only ones of your type. And it's because the space, by and large, is a redheaded stepchild, and it's still theoretically illegal, and the stocks don't trade. When all that changes, you guys will be the gold standard of the entire space. Now, there'll be also rands, but you guys will have the contacts, you'll have the years of experience,
right?
You'll have paid your dues, and you guys will be recognized for what you are. So I'd give you guys some money if you guys wanted to raise money now, because I think you're going to fit into Barstool. You're going to fit into Robinhood, just like Barstool fits into Fox, because there are no sell-side analysts who are worth a shit. There is no Wall Street following. There is no place to go. I mean, Todd Harrison, who I like and I've known forever, and he sadly likes the Raiders like me, he does a really good job. But you guys have been fighting this fucking fight for 10 to blank years.
Long time.
But you keep fighting, and I really admire people who never let go of the rope. I really admire what you guys have done. And I think when you get Schedule 3 and these guys get uplisted, your guys' services will be in demand. So I would buy stock in you guys right now. So if you make a offering out there, I know I would play, and probably my friends would play. So it's something you guys should consider, because I think it's a stone cold thing of where you guys are going when this happens. And I think you're probably one of the best plays there is. And you say I talk about Glasshouse a lot, right? Do you know the amount of shit I took from all these fucking clowns after that raid? Do you know the amount of shit? And I just sat there and I took it and I took it and I took it. And I saved everyone's fucking name. And I have all their fucking tweets, right? So now that they're doing this and expanding 6 months after the incident, right? And I think they're going to have JVs in pharma and JVs in booze. I'm just sick and fucking tired of these guys all hiding when all of a sudden the wind's not in their back.
Well, like you said, people want instantaneous results, positive, negative, you name it. It's the world we live in now. People want hooks to get attention on social media, but here's the reality. There's no shortcuts to success. If you see a good overnight story, guess what? That story has been in place for 5-10 years. And that is the reality. Nothing has changed. And the reality is that there's so many people that don't want to work hard and stick to it and give it time. That is what's key in any business success. I don't care what generation that you're from. And like you said, with the whole glasses thing in the summertime, this too shall pass. They handled things accordingly. They brought the Teamsters in to comment and help out, arguably the largest union in all across the U.S. And now here they are in conversations about who knows where this goes as far as their hemp play. But yeah, there's some great things about Glasshouse along with the other big MSOs in the space. But the key I wanted to understand here today is, based on conversations that you're having, how much of our priority is it about uplisting? How much will it actually indeed happen? And you firmly believe that Trump is going to announce something, the importance of uplisting soon after the rescheduling ruling is official, which to me is, whether it happens or not, we don't know, but it is encouraging to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, again, track the bouncing ball. He was pissed off on Venezuela. He was bombing their rowboats out of the water. I mean, and when you think about it, I mean, I'm not good at geography, but an outboard boat leaving Venezuela would probably need to be filled up 30 times with gas to get to Florida. So he's bombing the boats out of the water, and all of a sudden, Venezuela's ours. At least their oil's ours, and Venezuela's not a problem. Then you have Greenland, which again, today he called Iceland. He's made it clear, and there'll be some deal. We'll end up controlling Greenland for, he'll give the Venezuelan money to I mean, it's clear he gets what he wants because he's on the bully pulpit. Yeah. And then you have Arctic Mexico, right? And what about Arctic Mexico?
Where is that?
Carney, in my mind, is married to his brother. I mean, whatever he calls a wife, it looks like his brother.
Okay, great.
He's a complete shill. The elbows up shit pisses him off. He cuts a deal with the CCP, including media, government, and law enforcement. And if he's worried about the Arctic, there's nothing about Arctic Mexico that doesn't include the Arctic. They border the Arctic far more than Greenland.
Oh yeah,
and it's on our border. And the New York Stock Exchange trades Canadian cannabis companies, and Canadian cannabis companies produce an inferior product and make a fortune selling to Europe. So the check is all there. And when I deliver him a case of this for his and his family's aches and pains, and Besant a case of that stuff for his aches and pains, they'll say this shit is pretty good. And why not instead of all the opioids? And it's just if nothing else, folks out there, just think it through, right? It doesn't matter if MSOS is 450 or 650 or 1850 or 250. It just doesn't matter. Think of how this can play out and whose model plays it out the best, second best, or third best.
Well, we got some good understanding on the roadmap between now and the midterms. I think that's key. Viewers, what do you think? Should we raise money, sell stock? You guys want to be investors in the company? Maybe it's something that we should do. Yes. I think we talked about this. If so, looks like Marc will be the lead investor. Let us know in the comments section. Love to get your feedback. Already getting some ticker symbols, SHDD.
Well, it's just, you don't need to make it publicly traded.
We're not going to.
It would still be private, but you guys could then branch out into different things. Then you could sell subscriptions, because when the dam breaks, in my view, people are going to want to tune in to see what you have. And nothing's free anymore. I mean, it used to be, and again, I am what I am. I'm 65 years old. It used to be you get a cable package or direct TV and you watch everything. Now you got to get Netflix and Peacock and Hulu.
Yeah.
And, and all these various things. Why should you guys be free? And if people, you can upgrade your guests and have less lawyers and more, and you're going to have more and better minds in the space than the turkey buzzards who currently float around. So to me, I think you guys have fought it out. I think you've endured. I think you are what you are, and I'd invest with you. You guys make it available to the public, I'll kick in for sure. And I think my pals would kick in.
Well, I appreciate that, and something to think about. So Anthony and I are going to get to work and screw this vertigo that I've had for the past 3 days. But it sounds like we got an opportunity here. So
and some things I say piss you off, and some things you guys say piss me off. And I've never met either of you face to face, but I have the utmost respect because I admire the fight. I admire your guys' grit.
Well, I appreciate it. Listen, always good having you on. Let's keep in touch. And obviously, if we get any direction or news out of Washington, we'll look to have you back on again to get some updates. But some good takeaways here today. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm excited. It's gonna be quite the year. I think it's gonna be really something how this all shakes out.
Well, as you said, think big picture, and there's a lot of moving parts that people
think big picture, and Rome is not built in a day.
Yeah, no kidding.
And again, a lot of these stocks sucked for a period of time last year, and all of a sudden they took off. And then they pulled back, and then when you get something, it can be very big. But view these companies, or at least view Glass House as a wellness company. And I think you're going to start hearing wellness a lot more often.
Yeah, agreed. People have to quit trying to time this at all and just let it happen. So saying that, Marc, appreciate you always logging on here today. Let's keep in touch, okay?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And
thanks, Marc.
Guys, stay out of trouble best you can, and think of raising some money, because I sure would kick in.
Okay, good to know. All right.
I have a standard PPM on my desk. So
okay, sounds good.
Top. Yeah.
Take care. Thanks again.
Good, Marc.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting all kinds. Marc date versus Shad date. What's the question? The date? You asking for like an announcement from Bondi, or are you talking about?
Oh, I think it's the Shad Dale's guarantee they're referencing.
I know they are, but what is it? Is that the first step, the Bondi one, or are we talking?
I think your guarantee was January.
No, I didn't say January.
Pretty sure you said January.
No, didn't say January.
That was January.
Sign off. Oh, yes, sir. Bondi. Log on Friday. I'll give you my thoughts.
It was January. I can pull the tape.
January. It's the real door. I like that guarantee. All right. You said January. Did I say January, Ed Blunt?
There's a bunch of podcasts where you said January.
Yeah. AV Shad, if someone is throwing money at you, take it. I hear you.
It depends if it's Canadian dollars or US dollars.
We're going to go US.
Yeah.
We're going to go US. All right. So thanks everybody for logging on here today. I know like Marc's got lots of great feedback, good voice. Some stuff you agree with, some stuff you don't disagree with, but take one or two things away and see the big picture as to like, quit trying to time this whole thing. But what I got, and it's very promising, is the fact that he believes that uplisting is going to be front and center once rescheduling is signed off. So you need that, because you can't just have one thing sign off and then suddenly this becomes just a sideshow where it doesn't get priority from lawmakers. But
well, that can happen.
I know it can still happen, but nothing better than someone getting behind it and voicing basically what they want done. And if he believes that, and if it does happen, then that'll be interesting to see what transpires from that, right?
I would like to think things are going to move expeditiously after we get pen to paper and Schedule 3 is in the clear. And I do think that uplisting will be one of those things.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, big picture. What's that date, Dr. Oz? Did he say April 15th?
Yeah. But, I mean, when have you not heard of a pilot program getting dates pushed back? Like, nothing is set in stone.
Yeah, I agree. Well, one other thing or another is that we're about to enter a new era of this industry. And a lot of changes and turnings of corners into, like, new chapters of this whole story are going to start taking place here in 26. So now's not the time to walk away. I know that a lot of people are still frustrated with what happened and how the rug got pulled underneath their feet with that whole shorting back on December 18th. But every dog has its day. You live another day. Keep investing, but this is not investment advice. And look at what you learned from the past and try to fix some of those errors. But one thing's for sure, stop trying to time everything. I learned that the hard way too. So back here Friday, we're going to go special time on Friday, 12 o'clock, not 11 a.m.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're going 12 o'clock on Friday. You go okay with that?
I've got a tea time at 12:30.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to figure this out. Either way, we'll let you guys all know who we're going to have on Friday. Kyle Sherman will come back on for his weekly segment. We'll get caught up with him, what he's seeing and hearing, possibly some news out of Washington. Plus, don't forget, they go live tomorrow, episode number 2 of the Great America Dispensary Tour, which is a deep dive on Maryland over on Flowhub's YouTube channel. So check that out after that episode goes live tomorrow. So we'll talk about that and a recap of it on Friday when we have him back for his weekly segment. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you back here Friday at probably 11. We'll let you know either way. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for watching here today. Listen, if you're getting value from us here at TDR, make sure to check us out at TDR Plus. It's our exclusive membership community. Why? Well, you'll see CEO interviews that go beyond business, showing a personal side that you won't find anywhere else, including the biggest names of the industry. Plus, you'll get insights from analysts and day traders on where the industry's headed, both short-term and long-term, and a direct chat group with our team. It's only $7 a month, just 25 cents a day, and it helps support everything we do here at TDR. If you want to join, just click the join button below and become a TDR Plus member today. And once again, a big thank you for being part of our community. So that's it for today. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.